Hey guys, how's it going? This is PJ with the High Mountain Homestead, and I am excited to talk with you about something that I am really passionate about, and that is putting an oversized front yard to good use if you have sheep. So if you have sheep, or if you've thought about sheep and you've got a average or bigger than normal front yard, I'm going to show you how you can put it to work if you've got sheep. Some of the specific things that I've learned after rotating them on and off this front yard for a few months. So if that sounds up your alley, keep watching. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I hope to see you again at the High Mountain Homestead. We are all about promoting better soil, better plants, and better animals. And I feel like sheep on the front yard actually hits all three of those marks. So there's going to be a great video to watch. I've been excited to film this for many weeks, so I'm glad I have the time to do it today. Let's start talking about it. Let me show you what the actual setup is of this fence. Right now my fence is active. This is Premier One fence. This is 160 feet, so it is just one line of fence. And the way I've got it, my whole front yard, I've never measured it, but I think it's about like 110 by 90. So that makes it just under a quarter acre, if I've done the math right. But what I've got right here, this is where where one end is. So I've got just a string that holds it in place on this end. Notice I don't have the white and black electrical wire touching anything there, but it's just tied up to my fence to keep it taut. And then I keep a gap right there with that fiberglass rod, and that keeps these sheep from getting out, which is great. And I've got a perimeter fence with barbed wire on top, so they're not interested in hopping that. If I'm being honest with myself, I believe my sheep probably could hop some areas of that, but I don't think there's any reason for them. There's no grass on the other side of that, and there's barbed wire up top, so my guess is that they would test it first, or rest their chin on it, and they would get hit with that barbed wire and say, no, I don't want to jump that. Also, there's enough grass here. Alright, so a note on the grass. I think I just mentioned it's almost a quarter acre, and that's not quite enough for any long-term stay for these sheep. The longest I've ever kept them here is a week and a few days, and right now they've been here they've only been here 3 days, and my goal, I'm moving them off tomorrow night. Just with it's hotter month, so I keep them here for a shorter period of time during that, because I can't really water while they are on it. So at max I can keep them here a week, and shorter time periods 3 or 4 days. But that's fine. It gives my backyard, my back pasture, a lot of time to regrow, which is appreciated. So here's how it's set up. It's actually plugged in just right into the house. So that's pretty sweet. So right now the fence is not active. You can always tell if the fence is active. You can just hear like a click, click, click from the fence. So that's one way to know that it is active. So I'm going to step over the fence, and I'll show you what the electrical box setup is. Okay, so I'm right by my electrical box. It's easy to tell, right, where the sheep have been and where they haven't been. Where this little line is. Oh, everyone's coming over to say hello. So what I've got here is this electrical box, and all it is, I'll hop the fence again. So I've got the electric cord that just runs along the side. That connects to the wall, my exterior wall. And the gang's here. They're really interested in this. And I've got just this like plastic tote box that seals up. So in the tote box, I've got, this is like the cheapest thing you can buy from Premier One. It has the option to be hooked up to a battery or the house. I don't have a battery, and I have a house, so there you go. But this Hot Shock 5 has been really beneficial. It's great for small fences. Like I said, I only have one line of fence. It's lined up here, and it's grounded here. And keeping it in this tote keeps it dry if it ever rains or the sprinkler gets on it. Pretty low maintenance. If you know anything about sheep, you know that they are really fastidious eaters, and they eat grass right down to the nub. I'll show you, see if I can find good examples of this. So here's a good example. Try not to touch poop. We've got this tall, really pretty grass right here, and then next to it, we've got grass that's just, basically down to the nub. You can see another patch right here of better grass compared to what's back farther out there. But what that means for me is basically the hour that I move them off, I hop on the riding lawnmower and I mow the whole front yard, and then immediately after that, sprinkler. So you want to make sure that you're getting it wet and watering it pretty much immediately afterward. I found that helps a lot with obviously the regrowth period, but also there's spots like this. If you have dogs, you're familiar with burn marks on the grass, and I feel like if I water immediately after, I get a lot less burn marks on the grass. So my grass is not winning any award for prettiest lawn or anything like that, but it is for most functional, which I think is really cool. Also, I mow it like once every 3 weeks, so it takes about 2 weeks of cool down up here, and then I get the third week, I move them all up here, and they look forward to it. Like, I can tell they really like coming to the front yard. It's always really easy to get them to come up here because the grass is taller and they have a good time out here, I think. Okay, quick little story. I'm walking to the corner over here. The one downside that I've had is one time there were these punk kids that just came over and tried to just hop that fence in like broad daylight when the sheep were out here. I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why. The reason is because I didn't ask them. I don't know, something like triggered in me, and I just like ran out and like just started screaming at them, and they left. So don't mess with my sheep, guys. Okay, so I talked about how immediately after I move the sheep off, I mow and I water deeply after that. The other thing that's really great is getting these girls. I think actually one of them's a guy. We got it from our neighbor, a chicken that was just getting picked on. But this chicken tractor is really great to move on there for two reasons. The two reasons that a chicken tractor is really good right after the sheep has been there. One, I just mowed, and this grass is really I'm here, let's just look at it. This grass is really tall, really pretty grass, but it's actually not as hygienic for chicks on a tractor because the grass kind of just falls over and the chickens poop on that, and the poop doesn't get right down to the soil all the time where you want it, at least not as quickly. And then they're just less likely to pick at it. Chickens are kind of like sheep that, they'd rather eat the freshly cut sward of the grass. Is that how you say it? Sward? I only see it in writing. Sword? I don't know. So it's really great for that reason. Second reason, poop and bugs. There's a lot more fresh turds out there and a lot more bugs flying around, so I feel like it's a lot more food for these girls to pick at. Okay, one last note that I want to talk about is the whole reason for doing it on the front yard is the homestead mindset. And when I say that, I mean as a homesteader, and I've only been doing it for 6 months, but as a homesteader, you realize that everything has to produce, and if it doesn't produce, it's not worth it. And so I have a bigger than normal front yard. I would much rather have a front yard that was a fourth of this size and have that grass be out back in my pasture that I'm pointing to that you can't see because the barn is in the way. But the point of that is for weeks I was just like, what am I going to do with this big dumb front yard? And now that I have sheep on there, I feel good about it. because I don't like watering grass just to have a good looking front yard, because clearly you see I don't care about look, I care about functionality, and that's the cool part about this. So if you have that same mindset for sustainability, sheep are very, very cool animals to help with the front yard, and it's not a long-term thing. Like I said, it's 3 days to a week that I have them up here. Man, look at these lambs. They're getting big. This girl right here, right there, she is my favorite lamb that we have. She is really cool. She was a really complicated labor, but such a cool lamb. She's grown super big. If you see her from the field, or I'm in the house and I see her in the field, I can barely tell her apart from some of the other older ewes. It's awesome. She's getting big. I'm really excited to add her to my breeding stock this year. Okay, that wraps it up for this video. Again, the benefits of a front yard pasture for your sheep. It's a great short-term place to move them. It's something that they get excited about. It puts what could just be seen as useless grass to use. It's good for the lawn. It's great if you've got chicken tractors that you want to move in afterward. I mean, I just can't say enough how great this is. And then if you're using Premier One fencing, all the better. I will say this. Premier One fencing is really awesome to when it's up, but putting it up and taking it down can be a pain sometimes, especially when you've got a lot of like contours like this. So anyway, but I couldn't recommend it more. If you've got a front yard, even if you have less than I do, just put your sheep there for a day or two. The change of scenery, it's good for your front yard, it's good for your backyard, it's good for the sheep, it's good for the environment. Couldn't recommend it enough. So thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, I hope you like it on YouTube, and I hope you subscribe. At the High Mountain Homestead, we launch videos at least once a week, usually more than that, and we're talking about sheep, chickens. We've got a garden. I've got some boxes over there that... Am I pointing to the right thing over there? Yeah. Got some boxes over there. I've got a pumpkin patch that's, or kind of like squash watermelon patch that I just planted. So we'll do a video on that. But if that stuff sounds up your alley, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you around here. Until next time, I'm PJ with the High Mountain Homestead. I'll see you on the next video, guys.